Good afternoon. Debbie Cole's been on, and she's waiting in the waiting room next to me via whatever this system is that's working. Sorry, I'm a bit dishevelled because it's Friday afternoon, and I'm normally doing the washing and cleaning and making sure I've got biscuits and chocolate in for my daughter when she gets home for later. Anyway, this is where we're up to. You will have seen the disgraceful scenes yesterday of the police turning up at Debbie Barratt-Cole's house. They looked embarrassed. They looked shameful. And they had turned up because Sean Fielding's girlfriend had apparently reported harassment. Now, many of us have been reporting Sean Fielding and a number of Labour Party politicians, cartel members, all sorts to the police for months and months and months. And the police have been sat on their hands. And when Sean Fielding's 27-year-old girlfriend reports something, the police turned up to Debbie Barratt-Cole's home. But what was really interesting is whilst he was sat there trying to threaten her, if anyone watched it, and I'll play it all properly on Sunday, but if anyone watched it, you will see the police repeatedly specify Sean Fielding. They were there at the instructions of the politicians. There is no doubt whatsoever that in Greater Manchester, the police are not independent. They are run by the politicians. And then it was not at all surprising when Debbie called me late this morning because she'd had a really, really troubling telephone conversation with a police officer. I'm going to bring Debbie on right this second. Debbie, how you doing?
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I was quite happily having me back when I got this phone call, and then I was like, I'm not happy about that. Yeah, I spoke to Sergeant Wilkinson this morning. He phoned me about a complaint crime that I had reported. He told me that a man called Mr. Kenny Blaine.
He's a detective inspector. He's a detective inspector or a detective constable. He's one of those. Yeah.
Right. Well, he told me that he's made a decision on a crime that I've reported. Without it going to the CPS, he's decided that it's not the crime that I've reported. It's something else. And then he said, and the crime that has been committed, that has been possibly committed, is out of time. So it's after 6 months. So therefore, it can't be followed up.
So what was the crime that you reported? So we're very clear.
The crime is that I reported Tahir Mushtaq for calling me a bully and racist.
Tahir or Shahid Mushtaq? Shahid Mushtaq was his brother.
Yeah, Shahid.
Yeah, the councillor, the cabinet member for education, Shahid Mushtaq, you reported, because let's be clear, this time last year, when you turned up to that town, to the meeting in the Civic Centre, and when you were leaving, he shouted across the council chamber that you were a racist.
Yeah, and a bully.
Yeah, and a bully, yeah.
He referred to me as a grandmother and that I should know better and that I'm bullying and that I bullied Arusha because of her skin colour. No one ever. And so I reported it as it was brought to my attention, and so I reported it. I didn't know he'd done that at the time because I'd left the building.
It's okay, right? So you reported this. Let's stay focused on this, Debbie. You reported what you consider to be a hate crime, which is being referred to as a racist and a bully and stuff by a councillor, and the police have got back to you and said you're out of time. Okay.
Out of time.
Okay, let me give you some context. And we haven't had this conversation, by the way, because
no, we haven't.
I needed to go and turn this stuff off when you phoned really angry.
Sorry, I've made you angry this morning.
It's all right. Because a senior politician in Oldham referred to you as a racist, that meant you are open season to all the Islamists and dirty gangsters from Glodick and all the rest of them to call you a racist and a far-right sympathiser.
Including Mr. Ime.
So Dale Cregan's getaway driver, convicted criminal, career criminal, Irish Ime, has a consequence, you believe as a consequence of being given a platform by a senior Asian councillor in this town, then launched on calling you a racist and putting abusive posts on the internet, and then sharing these and your photograph, and and clearly disclosing you. And this was only done last month. And then
he shared it to a lot of Muslim
so he shared it to a group of Islamist groups, hoping, as far as I'm concerned, to entice people to attack you. So you reported this to the police, and the police are saying...
Mr. Remy openly said that he finds it his duty that if ever he saw me in public, that he would announce in public to wherever I am that I am a racist. Far-right
and
racist.
Then a far-right racist, clearly, because we're all far-right racist to these scumbags. So let's get this right. So the police are saying you're out of time, Now, the police saying you're out of time, you've asked for this and an explanation. Excuse me. You've asked for this and an explanation in writing from the police. From this, what's his name?
He's refused to send it.
What's his name? What was his name? Let me write his name now. What was his name?
I think his name is Alex Wilkinson.
So Alex Wilkinson from Greater Manchester Police, Sergeant Alex Wilkinson from Greater Manchester Police, called you the day after they visited your house. And let's be clear, the only reason they're now acting is because I put out there last night calling for the arrest of Sean Fielding. Because as far as I'm concerned, Andy Burnham, the Greater Manchester Mayor, Sean Fielding's mate, Sean Fielding's girlfriend's employer, is involved in preventing the police from doing their job. Because
do you know what
that's all we ask. So what's he said? He won't send you that. He won't send it in writing, or you won't give it in writing.
He's not giving me anything in writing. He's not sending me any letters. He's not giving me any letters. He's not sending me any emails. The decision's made, and that's final. And they're not going to look into it any further, and they don't want it going on social media.
Well, we are here on social media. Who are the police to tell us what we can and can't raise on social media? So they won't share why they've made that decision. The police officer, Blaine, won't share why he's made the decision, why he won't investigate Councillor Shahid Mushtaq for reference you knew as a racist, which led to an escalation of a convicted dangerous criminal naming you and photographing you and putting your name and details out there on a number of Islamist forums. Let's be clear. And the police, as well as saying you're out of time and won't look at it, have told you they won't write it. They won't put something in writing because they're concerned you'll put it out on social media. Wow. You have every right to be angry. You have every right to be angry.
Fuming. I'm actually fuming.
Someone's phoning me, and clearly I don't care who it is, but I'm not going to answer that. So there you go. Absolutely disgraceful. Now, I have also heard, whilst you're on, and I'll fill people in with context on Sunday, I have also heard that there are multiple victims of Sean Fielding and Oldham Council's criminal behaviour who have now heard today. They've been waiting for months, Debbie, and they've now heard this morning from the same man, Alex Wilkinson. And Alex Wilkinson, let me read something to you. I'll read something out to you. Let me get my phone and I'll read something out to you, because I think the people of our town have a right to know what is going on and can make decisions of themselves. I've always said from the beginning, I never consider the people of my town to be stupid, and I feel the people of my town are quite capable of making decisions for themselves. This is Alex Wilkinson. It's from one of the victims, All the complaints, including others from Debbie, are being looked at as a high priority case. They are collating all the evidence to be sent to a DCI at Oldham and the legal services team to establish one of three things. So first of all, this is not what you've been told, because they've told you they're not going to investigate. Your complaint, right?
They said it could be a possible.
No. Ignore that nonsense. This is where it gets interesting. Are there any criminal offences? What they're looking at. The police, as far as I'm concerned, are not going to investigate. Your complaint, right? They said it could be a possible. It could be a possible section 5 protocol. No. Is there any criminal offences? What they're looking at. The police, as far as I'm concerned, are not going to investigate. Are there any criminal offences? What they're looking at. The police and this isn't the police officers, I think the police as a service are having their arms twisted by their political masters to look the other way. Are the police going to investigate them? What do you mean are the police going to investigate them? Sean Fielding needs investigating. He has committed hate crime. He has disclosed details of a police investigation into me, allegedly, and shared it with a third party. Yeah, he has referred to me as a criminal. He's referred to you and others as far-right racists. He's written to people's employers trying to get them sacked using official Oldham Council letterhead. This is harassment. Yeah, and they came to your house yesterday to warn you because you turned up with a microphone and protested, as is your democratic right to do so in a democracy.
Right to protest.
And the police are now deciding whether or not they're going to investigate. And this is the best bit. I've already sussed them out. If it isn't a police matter, does it need to be reviewed by organisations that were complained to? As if the council are going to do anything to Sean Fielding. This is the police shirking their responsibility. This is the police being manipulated by Andy Burnham. This is the police wrapped round the little finger, let me get this right, wrapped round the little finger of their political masters. This is a disgrace.
I said the exact same thing to Alex Wilkinson this morning. He said it's going to the Review Legal Services at Greater Manchester Police. I said, so it's going to Andy Burnham. He said, no, it's going to Greater Manchester Police. I said, who runs the police force? He went, Detective Chief Inspector. I went, Andy Burnham.
Andy Burnham.
And the reason
is Sean Fielding's mate, and let me give you some context. Andy Burnham, Sean Fielding's mate. Andy Burnham, who's up for election next year, reliant on the cartel Labour Party vote to help him get re-elected. And Andy Burnham, who has given Sean Fielding's girlfriend a job, and then his office attempted to refuse to answer a